Hey everyone, welcome back to Peacemaker by Adnan Habul, the channel where we dive deep into global conflicts and seek pathways to lasting peace. I'm Adnan Habul, your host. Today we are at a crucial moment, exploring the future of Ukraine and the choices it is facing in its quest for peace. This episode will also speak about the terrible situation in Gaza and some interesting and strange coincidences. Let's start with Ukraine. The conflict in Ukraine has grabbed the world's attention, sparking debates on the best way forward. Today, we'll be talking about two emerging options. Should Ukraine keep fighting with support from Western allies, or should it consider a long-term ceasefire with Russia, never signing a peace, something like Korean Peninsula model? Stick around as we unravel the complexities of Ukraine's future. Let's first look at the option of Ukraine continuing the fight with the support from Western allies. It is like a chess game with alliances and interests at play. But what impact could this have on regional stability and the global balance of power? Let's dig into the pros and cons of this approach. You are kindly invited to leave your comments below, and subscribe to our channel, of course. First and foremost, my message for our friends in the United States: supporting Ukraine isn't just about spending money, it's about more than that. Apart from supporting democratic values, it is also about creating jobs in countries producing weapons and dealing with old weapon stockpiles. The United States is one of those countries. This isn't just expenditure, it is investment in global security and a source of economic growth and stability in your country. Don't be fooled by fake experts who shout that US taxpayers are losing billions of US dollars in Ukraine. If you disagree, just comment below and we will reply with educated answer. Now let's talk about the Korean model, a diplomatic approach seeking a long-term ceasefire without a formal peace deal. Could this be the key to Ukraine's stability? The advocates of this option argue that Western Ukraine would serve as a model of South Korea, while the occupied territories of Ukraine would live in a state similar to North Korea. In my view, this model has good intentions, but let's not forget that Russian Federation already incorporated the occupied territories of Ukraine into their constitution. The question is, would Putin and Kremlin agree to stop now and never attack the rest of Ukraine in the future? What do you think? Diplomacy is crucial in both scenarios. Whether rallying Western allies or talking with Russia, finding common ground is essential for Ukraine. However, recent conflicts, including the war against Ukraine and the most recent one between Israel and Hamas in the Gaza Strip, show that international organizations such as the United Nations and the odyssey need urgent and radical reform. The veto power and consensus decision-making are proving ineffective. The world is changing, and we must adopt our diplomacy approach in new way. In conclusion about the Russian-Ukrainian war, folks, Ukraine's future hangs in the balance. The choices made today will echo for generations. As we navigate these crossroads, let's consider a hybrid strategy, combining elements of both scenarios. A reformed diplomacy paired with Western support might be the key. What's your take? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Now I will speak about Gaza Strip. I heard that 560 lawyers filed complaint against Israel, alleging that attacks have a genocidal nature. In a significant development in the ongoing Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a formidable group of 560 lawyers representing Palestinian victims of Israeli attacks on Gaza has filed a complaint with the International Criminal Court, asserting that Israel's actions amount to the crime of genocide. The complaint, submitted by Gilles Dever, a veteran French lawyer and the victim's representative before the ICC, is part of a legal delegation in the Dutch city of The Hague. The coalition of legal professionals add weight to the gravity of the situation, highlighting the broad concern within the legal community regarding the alleged violations occurring in the Gaza Strip. The lawyers argue that Israel's military actions have resulted in widespread and systematic violence against the Palestinian civilian population, fitting the criteria for the crime of genocide as outlined in the Rome Statute. However, it is worth noting that Israel does not recognize the jurisdiction of the ICC. The Israeli government has consistently maintained that its military operations in Gaza are acts of self-defense against attacks by Palestinian armed groups, such as Hamas or others. Israel argues that it takes extensive measures to avoid civilian casualties and protect its citizens, asserting that its actions are aimed at rooting out militants. The filing with the ICC serves as a legal battleground where the question of jurisdiction and accountability takes center stage. The ICC, as a court of last resort, intervenes when national jurisdiction are unwilling or unable to prosecute. The fact that Israel does not acknowledge the ICC jurisdiction adds a layer of complexity to the legal proceeding. International legal experts caution that establishing the crime of genocide is a complex task, requiring pure evidence of specific intent to partially or in totally destroy a protected group. The outcome of this filing will depend on thoroughness of evidence presented by the legal team and the interpretation of the law by the ICC judges. As this legal drama unfolds, it prompts a broader reflection on the motivations behind the Israeli government's use of force in the region. Regardless of ICC decision, the international community may find itself asking a legitimate question. Why does the Israeli government persist in using what some consider excessive force and advocate for expulsion of entire Palestinian population from the Gaza Strip? Speculations have arisen, including the notion that such actions may be linked to larger geopolitical considerations, such as the construction of the Ben Gurion Channel. The project, which proposes a direct route through the Gaza Strip, raises questions about the potential motivations behind the Israeli government's policies and military operations in the region. The coming months will be critical as the ICC conducts its preliminary examinations, and the international community awaits the outcome of this legal process. Regardless of verdict, the questions raised about the motivations and consequences of Israeli government actions in Gaza demand serious consideration and reflection from the global community. Thanks for joining in this episode. And of course, if you haven't already, make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a thumb up. Remember, with dialogue, understanding, and collective commitment, we can pave the way to a brighter future for the world.